I love Mike Hanson Archives.
Are you ready to run?
Well, I mean their child rescue.
Where? Where's it at?
Oh, that's beautiful. Mike's getting it on film. The old Starflight, new Starflight. Oh, it's fantastic. Oh, actually, it's probably, Alex made a joke every time Alex showed
About the federal activities.
Oh, Kanoki, you setting me up on something.
No, we're not. We promise.
What are you fixing to do?
Ask you some simple. You're making me laugh, Arlo. Every time this happens, you make me laugh. You're the one setting us
I got a
up.
good Monica Lewinsky joke if you want to hear it.
We want to hear it. We're here with Lieutenant Beck, commander of the Travis County SWAT team, and his offices on the 4th floor of the Travis County Command Center. Sir?
Okay, I'll start with you. Go ahead.
County SWAT team commander, Lieutenant Beck, 4th floor of the Travis County Sheriff's Department. How you doing today, sir?
Just fine. How are y'all?
We appreciate you stopping and talking with us. When we walked in, we had the camera off. One of your men was telling us about training with the Delta Force, but she wouldn't let us turn the camera on.
They were bullshitting you. They were bullshitting you.
They are? Well, you told us in the past that that you were in contact with Delta.
That's right.
They've been contacting you?
No. That was a one-time deal.
Just around the time we were talking about it, they just happened to call you and give you the...
No. They had contacted me. I think I explained it to you once. They had contacted me about training up here, and then after the San Antonio incident, they never did.
The San Antonio incident?
Yeah.
You mean when they endangered public safety?
I don't believe that I don't think they did anything in San Antonio.
The police chief said they tried to bribe him down there. Ali Philippus? Did they try anything like that with you?
No.
Now, basically, I do appreciate you taking this time with us on such short notice. You are a great member of the community, and we do appreciate your service, Lieutenant Beck. But we've been told that the FEMA preparedness forces are here, Federal Emergency Management Agency, are now in Austin. We just saw a news report this week about it, but we've been unable to find out exactly what type of training and where they're doing their training.
I'm not aware of it. Seriously.
Are you?
I think what if I am correct on this, they were going. I think the purpose was to familiarize and train emergency response crews on like chemical and biological hazards.
That's this month. We're told that in January they're going to have a full-scale simulation. Have you heard anything about the full-scale simulation?
I haven't heard that. The ones to talk to would be the probably your firefighters and emergency medical service.
So the military training has been called off here in Austin.
For who? For Delta?
Well, you had told me months ago when we first raised this issue that they had contacted you.
One of their front guys came to me and told me their plans. Mostly it was not to train us. It was not to train any people in this area. There was a site that they wanted to train at, and it was to notify us that they would be here. And
was that site the new drainage ditches complexes they put in East Austin?
No. The area is east, but it is not in East Austin. I'm not even sure if it's within the city limits.
Is it the church?
No, it was an area east of town. It's real isolated. Had they not notified me of them coming there, no one would have even known. They could have come and gone and no one would have known.
We're told they've already come and gone from our sources in the fire department and police department.
They never came here. They never came here.
Why our sources in the police department that cannot reveal themselves, some of them are very high level, have told us that they've actually been already training in East Austin.
No. Why would they train in East Austin?
Well, it's funny. I just brought up East Austin. You said yes, East Austin.
It was east of Austin. I'm not even sure this area was in the city limits.
But you did.
It's a, I'll put it this way, I know where they were gonna train at, I'm not gonna say where, I'll just say it was a large tract of land that had some buildings on it, where they were gonna train at. No one would have even noticed that they would have been there.
But don't they have large military bases and mock towns to do that?
Not necessarily. They have mount sites that they use.
Have you seen the television show when we play the chief of police interview in San Antonio?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Where they talk about the dishonesty, the attempted bribery, the endangerment of public safety, the firing into the all-night restaurant in Miami.
I saw that. I wasn't there. I can't answer that. It's only reasonable to assume it's like our SWAT team. We have different training sites, and after you train at one for so long, doing entries, you lose the value of the training, because you go into an abandoned house that we might use. Once you know the layout, your learning goes down because you know where everything's at. You have to, ideally, you need a different place every time.
Do you remember the conversation, Lieutenant Beck, do you remember the conversation we had about 9 months ago about federal forces wanting to train with local law enforcement and also, in some cases, actually engage in law enforcement with them, and you said that would never happen? Are you familiar with what's going on in the Hill Country now with the MPs riding around with the DPS?
No, I'm not familiar with that. It's, from my perspective, it's not the military that wants to train with law enforcement. There are some law enforcement that train with the military. It's kind of a misnomer. This all goes back through the center of it is counter narcotics. And the reason the military provides the training, it all has to do with counter narcotics. They're not going to train you to go over and assault towns or stuff like that. Everything has to be related to narcotic enforcement. The military will provide the training, and it is not really the type of training that what you think it is. It's not military per se. It all has to do with narcotic enforcement, and it's geared towards smaller departments that can't afford training. And in our department, we've taken advantage of it too.
You have to understand the reason that we're always so skeptical about this, due to the San Antonio Express news articles about the helicopters coming in, the automatic weapons firing with live ammunition in the streets, a police chief saying that they attempted to bribe him, endanger public safety. No was never no. They were dishonest with him. That's the point. What Delta tells you and what the feds tell you, Lieutenant Beck, from our experience, other departments' experiences, from newspaper accounts, they are dishonest and cannot be trusted. Now, it's funny, that wasn't my term. You said you got a visit from Delta Force's front person?
It was, I say it's a front man. He was one of the, more properly, it's one of their advanced guys, and he came here to give me notification that they would be training at a particular area, and it was to give us advance notice so that we would not have people calling in saying that there's a bunch of people running around with guns and stuff, and having law enforcement agencies responding out there.
Did they train?
No.
Why did they not train?
I suppose the San Antonio had a lot to do with it, but they did not come here. And as far as training here now, no.
Our sources deep inside Fort Hood have notified us that at this time they are planning to train here in January.
I don't know why they would.
But you have to realize, Lieutenant Beck, I've been 5 steps ahead of this.
Right.
I tell you what's going to be happening in the future. I assure you, they plan to train here, and they've been lying to you if they told you otherwise.
There's no reason for them to lie. When they train, what's the secret of it?
Well, Congressman Lloyd Doggett, in an open letter to the Austin American Statesman several weeks ago, said that there will be a full-scale anti-terrorism simulation sometime in January, and that the advanced teams would be here in December.
FEMA? That's not Delta.
Well, Delta and Marine Force Recon and others, according to the Houston Chronicle and others, are attached to FEMA when they do these full-scale
I don't know that. I would be surprised if there are any military at all attached to FEMA. They're not going to be. I would not suspect that they're special operations people. They're more than likely the NBC, the guys who are trained in
Nuclear, chemical, biological.
yeah, that sort of things. And I do know from what I've heard here, it's reaction. The training that they are proposing, it's all reactionary. Mostly it's of a medical nature for victims. How do you, if something does happen, if there's a derailment or a truck overturns, or you could have a terrorist or someone who came up with some biological weapon, how are the locals going to respond to it?
Did you see our program that happened September 3rd and 4th? We actually scooped CNN News by 2 weeks. We were airing it a week after the incident, about a week after September 3rd and 4th. Marine Force Recon, 75 officers, to go back and train others, did mock gun confiscations in Hebron, Maryland. And while they were doing it during the daytime, it was medical reasons. They were doing mock injuries, mock chemical attacks. And then at night, it took in their true role, which was gun confiscation, and the camera people were told to turn their cameras off in their own state.
I'm not familiar with that. I don't. What do you mean by gun confiscation?
They were doing mock gun confiscation door to door with citizens that had agreed to go along with it.
I find that hard to believe.
Well, you've seen the other programs. You might have missed this one. Perhaps I'll shoot you off a VHS copy, a half-inch copy, and bring it to you, Lieutenant.
That's fine.
I assure you, I'm not exaggerating.
Well, this is my day-to-day business, is SWAT. And I pretty much know what's going on, in our mission. And I assure you, it is strictly law enforcement. We don't have any military ambitions or we don't
Mission purview.
We don't operate along those lines.
What about the armored personnel carriers? I know Austin has them, and DPS has them. Are y'all attempting to purchase some?
Purchase? No. Acquire? Yes.
Free ones from the military.
If it's possible. And that's specifically, we need one.
Were any of your men, or were you out last Friday after the UT Texas A&M football game when they had the Travis County helicopters going down the streets and the armored personnel carrier out there? And
after the football game?
You're not.
We worked the football game.
I mean, after the football game on Guadalupe Street.
No, that was DPS, I believe, wasn't it? DPS and UT Police.
Well, I could kick myself for missing it. I've now talked to around 30 eyewitnesses that they had police literally shutting down the road, marching down in riot gear with an armored personnel carrier rolling from behind, and the new Travis County Sabre 1 and Sabre 2 police helicopters.
We don't have any police helicopters. We don't have any police helicopters. Starflight has a new helicopter. It's configured for medical missions. There are no law enforcement helicopters. DPS has one or two here.
Lieutenant Beck, I think you were kind of smiling there.
Well, I am smiling about it, and the reason I am is why. I mean, the sheriff department, we explored the idea of getting a helicopter for law enforcement, and you were quite vocal over there. I think mostly the budget is what shut us down, but there is a need for a helicopter exclusively for law enforcement.
I would actually agree with that.
Yeah.
I would actually agree, but when we read the purchase orders, it said Sheriff's Department Command Complex as part of the decentralization plan, which I'm sure which I'm sure you're familiar with. The problem is we now have the head of EMS. What's his name?
I don't know.
A chubby fella. We actually have that on tape. The head of EMS telling us that y'all, the Sheriff's Department, use your own crews, and that it's Sabre 1 and Sabre 2.
No, that's no. We don't have any flight crews here. As a matter of fact, had we been able to acquire a helicopter, we were going to train some officers to be pilots, and I was asked to be one of them. And the only reason I've got commercial, multi-instrument, seaplane, I've got a gobs of fixed wing experience, and I also have years as a crew chief on a helicopter.
In Vietnam?
No, I was in the Marines from '69 to '72, and then in the National Guard. And the reason it would take me about 30-hour transition course to go over from fixed wing to rotary wing. We don't have any crews. Though the Sabre 1 and Sabre 2 are radio calls. When Starflight is on a law enforcement mission, that's the radio calls that they'll go by.
Are you aware that a national magazine has picked up that story, the Free American? And we have the tower records from Simeon Tungle at Austin Aviation Department. We also have Karen Sunleitner finally admitting it in the court, that my mother got a 4-hour surveillance mission over her house. And then
I see. You had talked to me about that. First off, I don't think
they said it was APD piggybacking.
APD piggybacking. What do you mean? That's
Karen Sunleitner. She said it was a Austin Police Department piggyback surveillance mission.
Now just off of what I'm guessing, it may have been the Starflight helicopter. APD may have requested to use it for some reason for I don't know.
It was a murder investigation of my parents, and it was a murder investigation across town at Mike's house.
A murder investigation of your parents?
That is what. Well, it was over their property for an hour straight, taking photos of my mother at above, not even 150 feet. And then Mike got a visit.
I can see them using a helicopter to take pictures of an area. Now, we've done that before. We've had homicides or especially homicides where we want to get an overall picture of the area. They'll use the helicopter. That's the only thing we have. And they have done that before. They'll videotape it, take some stills. That becomes evidence. It's a helpful investigative tool for the detectives. It's also good if when you go to court, when you have a jury, you can say the body was found right here. Here's the road. You know, the murder weapon was here. Now they do use that for that.
Well, there was a murder a year and a half ago, about half a mile from where my parents live.
Yeah.
And we would have bought that story of what happened October 9th. But then October 10th, in the early hours, actually October 11th by then, Mike calls me at 2 in the morning and says, we have a helicopter flying over, turning on its light only when it gets here. He got the actual video. By the time he got his camera out and got 2 more passes where it flies over, turns its light on. That's a separate part of Austin, 15 miles away. Then my girlfriend calls, without even knowing about this, crying that a helicopter was shining a light into her windows at her place in central Austin.
There's only 2 Starflight helicopters. We are very, when we use them, we're very picky when we use them because it costs money. I'm just off the top of my head, is we probably pay operating costs maybe $300 an hour for the helicopters. You know, it's fuel, maintenance, crew, and all that. So you just don't call up and say, hey, let's go take some pictures. It better be something good, and it better be worth the money. But just joyriding around, no. The law enforcement, we don't do that. Helicopter with 4 hours of fuel, that's something I'm unfamiliar with.
Well, it was logged in at the tower
Okay.
with 4-hour surveillance mission.
The primary purpose of those 2 helicopters is Starflight for medical. Matter of fact, if right now, if I needed a helicopter for a law enforcement reason and they were on a medical run or something, the medical takes priority. And that's why the Sheriff's Department wanted a helicopter exclusively for law enforcement. And that has happened in the past where we want to use a helicopter for a search or something, or up at the lake, if we have a boat overturned or missing kids or something, or if something comes up where we have an escapee, we can't get the helicopter because they're either on a medical run.
Okay, go ahead.
Not the type. Don't get this on
I'm
here.
getting the back of his head.
Ready? No, not the top of what we want.
Once you turn,
Lieutenant Beck, as commander of the Waffen SS here in Central Texas.
Ah, jawohl. And I know that'll be on TV.
Can we get a shot of your patch? The kind of turn.
You've already got a shot of the patch.
So y'all are the Strike Cobras.
Actually, this patch was stolen from the Tulsa, Oklahoma PD, and if any of them were watching and they see it, they're going to say, whoa. But no, that's a SWAT patch. It's a similar to a SWAT patch Tulsa PD has.
So that's your Strike Cobra.
It's not a Strike Cobra. There's always the mongoose.
There's always the mongoose.
Always the mongoose.
Y'all gonna crush
None
them?
of it. Not, these patches, like I've told you in the past, we're these uniforms. We would like to change things out.
Get gray.
Go to gray. Anything.
Well, that's the funny thing. In the penal code, it says that for officers to give tickets or to arrest people, they have to be in proper uniform, and that's a dark gray or dark blue with a cap that
No,
matches.
It doesn't say that.
Yes, it does. We got it.
Huh?
We got it in the car.
Well, that's uniforms come in all colors. I'm talking about for SWAT, the black. Get away from the black.
You don't like black?
Not particularly. It's hot in the summer. At nighttime, this sticks out almost like a white.
Who wanted you in black?
This goes back years and years ago when the first SWAT teams were in black. None of us like it. All of us want to change to a different color, but I mean, you got finances. It always comes back to
Plus
money.
the feds.
Yes, Beck.
You got people making sure we were all right.
No,
I'm
nah,
just
they're
teasing you.
just-
Few other questions. What do you think about Brady 2 and the computers not working the first few days and people not being able to purchase firearms?
Personally, it pisses me off. The whole. I have not used it yet, but I think the whole thing's a crock.
But won't we be safer when only criminals can have guns?
You know the answer to that. You're not gonna. You're gonna find the staunchest supporters of citizens, their right to bear arms is going to be at the cops.
Well, I've seen that and I've read that in a lot of the law enforcement magazines. The problem is the people that give you your orders are trying to make it completely illegal.
Who gives us our orders?
Well, the federal money that comes into these areas, the people that get elected by the moron citizenry, that's who you take your orders from. Is it not?
I should say no, but perhaps in a roundabout way. But no, you're not. We don't get orders like that, and we never are. And I don't know about Brady too.
Now,
The whole Brady bill is a bunch of crap. But
now you've got actually the Delta Force numbers in there inside your little Rolodex, don't you?
I have a business card.
Can we see the business card, Lieutenant Beck?
You've seen it before, Alex.
Can we see it one more time? We'll cover up the name.
Why? Cover up the name.
We just want to get a close-up of the symbol.
I don't think there's a symbol on it, is there?
Yes, there's a symbol.
There's a symbol. Don't get the numbers on it though.
That camera can't get close enough.
Yeah.
Oh, let us get a shot of the symbol.
It's just a typical. It's as far as I know, it's just what is that Department of Army symbol on it?
Yep.
There's nothing special about Delta Force. It's a military outfit. They're in the Army.
It's just the most elite military team out there.
That's an opinion.
Maybe
Yeah.
the Israelis are.
Well, you go to, I'm sure in Israel, an Israeli would tell you that. If you ask a Navy SEAL, he's going to tell you
Well, I
that.
think the Israelis get more practice than the real deal. So.
You know, if you ask a Marine Force Recon, he's going to tell you he's the most elite.
Mike, get a close-up of this. I want a close-up of the symbol. Well, there's a Delta Force.
Hold on, Alex.
That camera.
Don't burn us out.
It's like a 10-old. It's a 10-year-old camera. It won't even get close-ups.
Hold on. Yes, I can. I can fix it.
Department of Defense. Should say United Socialist of America. There you go. Did you get it?
Yeah, as close as you're gonna get.
We have it. I'm teasing.
I have, let's see, what else you want?
Isn't Lieutenant Beck nice?
Yeah, I'm always
You don't have any other numbers in there?
personal stuff.
What about Marine Force Recon?
I was in the Marines.
I know.
What is, these guys got better things to do than come to Austin and mess around.
They tried to come to Austin.
Delta Force did.
Yes, but I want to ask you why, if they're not so dangerous, why did a police chief, former military, Ali Philippus, in San Antonio say they tried to bribe him and throw?
I don't know what happened down there. I mean, Delta Force, it's counter-terrorist, and it can very easily, the United States is the most open country in the world for terrorists. And we have not yet begun to see terrorist acts. And the only thing they're doing is training.
Are you familiar with Oklahoma City?
Somewhat.
I mean, you've got to know, being in the Marines and being a pilot and everything else, that building was blown out, not in. There was no crater.
I don't know that. I didn't see that.
What about the seismographs?
I don't know anything.
What about the
that.
BATF and the FBI being off the 9th floor?
There were ATF agents killed in that.
No, that's,
Huh?
I've got the Senate hearings. There actually
It was my understanding that there were some ATF agents killed in that. I know there was some federal law enforcement officers that perished in that.
Well, it was a federal office building.
Yeah.
So basically, again, we're talking to Lieutenant Beck, commander of the Travis County Strike Force team, and no, again
The strike force team. Yeah.
Again, we're here talking with Lieutenant Beck, commander of the Travis County SWAT team. You do not know where the NBC teams are training this week in Austin, and you haven't heard that they're here in Austin.
No. Now, mostly from what I read on that FEMA's come from the newspaper, and like I told you, I don't think law enforcement is that big a role player in it. I think mostly it's for the firefighters and medical personnel.
Just to get used to working with FEMA and being friends. And are you familiar with the Senate hearings about FEMA and the concentration camps?
No.
Are you familiar that the Manazar prison camp has been reopened, the camp in the high desert of California that held 110,000 Japanese? New fences are being put up, and
Was it someone's private resort now, or?
no. It
No,
says
I'm not
Department
aware
of
of
Justice
that.
Federal Prison Camp.
I'm not aware of that. My immediate concerns are Travis County, and we don't get involved with things.
Is that military time on your watch?
Yes, it is. That's military time.
You're headed up to New Orleans today, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, we'll let you get out of here. Lieutenant Beck, I appreciate the time. What are you going to do if Delta Force tries to come back into Austin?
Try to get some training out of them, or get some, whatever equipment they have that's not nailed down and they're not looking. I guess we'll take it.
Do you think exposing corruption had anything to do with the fact that Delta Force decided not to attempt to train here?
No. I don't know why.
They said they were
do
going to
know-
train, correct?
I do know it is, and from that point of view, I can see their point of view. We train once a week, and if I could do it, I would change the training site every week. It's counterproductive to go to the same place every time and train. It becomes, it serves no purpose. And if I could move my people every week to a different training site, I
With
would
a new
do
restaurant to fire bullets into.
that. I don't. When they mean by live ammo,
Ceramic.
the ceramic type.
But you saw the article on my television show. They
Yeah,
fired into an all-out restaurant.
I'm sure it was not intentional.
What about the crash in the helicopter in Sugar Land, Texas last year?
I'm not aware of that.
That was Delta. You also saw the article, if you saw the show, about them doing $100,000 damage to a warehouse in New Orleans.
That's easy to do. Now, the price figure, I don't know. We have gone to training sites where I have had to tell the people, you know, watch what you're doing, don't kick this, don't overturn that. It's real easy to do it during tactical operations. When you're going in, you might want to hit a door or something like that. And I can see where, yes, you could do some damage. And that's something that we face all the time, too.
Well, do you share the Chief of Police in San Antonio's view that you don't want to endanger public safety by having these military teams ransacking areas?
No, I don't. They're not going to endanger public safety. That's the American military we're talking about. They are not going to endanger.
But are they the American military? Did you read the paper Tuesday about the German troops being...
The Germans have been here for years.
Since 1991.
Prior to that.
But why now is there such a big furor?
Because what they're doing some low-level flying in their the tornadoes, the jets. They're doing some low-level flying in West Texas, and it has some of the sheep and cattle farmers out there upset. That's been going on for years. The German Air Force has been here for years and years. I think they're out of Luke in Tucson. Matter of fact,
They're also out of Holloman.
Holloman,
They actually leased,
maybe, I don't know, but
they actually leased the base.
okay. They have been here for years.
Do they have diplomatic immunity?
I don't think so.
They're claiming it.
I don't know.
They're claiming
they're
it.
claiming that.
Diplomatic immunity means you can run somebody over.
No, that was brought up. I am somewhat familiar with the tornado jet that they're flying is a low-level
attack bomber.
attack deal, and I can see why they would be training here in the Southwest. There's nothing in Europe like that where they can be training, and you can imagine that they're training for Middle East.
Where it's flat.
Yeah, but that's been going on. I mean, even back into the 60s, they have trained here.
What about the Russians out of Fort Hood?
I don't think there are any Russians at Fort Hood.
Have you been with the Russians?
Have I been with the Russians? No.
Have you been? So you haven't been in contact with the Russians out of Fort Hood?
No. We were this unit. We trained at Fort Hood about 2 months ago at one of the Mount sites.
Mount sites?
Mount, M-O-U-T. It's the complex where they have the buildings and stuff.
But you didn't.
No, it was our own team training. You can go to these Army bases. I've been to like Fort McClellan over in Alabama, and you'll see soldiers from different countries there. You know, you'll see English and German and British. I mean,
And Russian.
if there are Russian soldiers there, I would imagine that their armor, probably tank, and that there's probably, I wouldn't say there's that many, and there's probably officers over here for some exchange program or something like that. You know, my own son when he was in the Coast Guard here 2 years ago in Alaska, the Russians sent over a cutter type ship, and they trained together on sea rescues.
Do you think it was a good thing that President Clinton transferred the nuclear weapons guidance, propulsion, separation, and multiple warhead delivery system to the Chinese military?
No, obviously that's not a good idea, but I don't know if that occurred.
You haven't heard about that in the press?
Yeah, I think I've read something about it.
How does it feel to know our military serving under President Clinton?
I'm not a Clinton fan. Like I said, like I told you before, Clinton's not going to be here very long.
He's not getting impeached. Did you hear about Henry Hyde, Judiciary Committee Chairman, refusing to investigate him? Refusing to investigate him on campaign finance? And that has the China connection under it?
Clinton is not the last. They say he's the commander-in-chief, and he may be, but there's a lot of, he is not the final say. I mean, he has advisors, and there's
like Sandy Berger and Secretary of Defense William Cohen, who's created the new 50 teams and the other 10 teams with the FEMA. So you're saying Clinton's held back by Madeleine Albright, and who wasn't born here?
I would hope so.
You know she was born in Czechoslovakia.
I have no problems
Her-
with that.
Her father was a communist diplomat.
I have no problems with that.
Why are there all these communists? And do you remember John Shelley Kashvili, Chairman Joint Chiefs of Staff?
He was he was born. He was from Poland, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was from Poland. His father. Do you remember back in '92 the big Senate hearings when Colin Powell resigned, didn't want to work under Clinton, and he put Kashvili in. The senators asked him about his father running death camps for the Nazis. Do you remember that?
There was some. Not exactly that. I know there was some controversy about it.
Well, my point is, this is how serious it is. We need y'all. I mean, this stuff is. I know at times it seems comical, all the wild stuff we talk about, but then later you see it happen. You get the phone calls from these people. What I'm trying to say to you, Lieutenant Beck, is y'all are the Achilles heel in this New World Order system, which is real. When you got a president with Kashvili, who can barely speak English, sitting on his daddy's knee while he was putting Jews in the ovens. You've got Madeleine Albright, Secretary of State, born in Czechoslovakia, the daughter of a communist diplomat. You've got Secretary of Defense William Cohen, a blue blood from the East Coast, totally selling out our nation. You've got Sandy Berger, National Security Advisor, that talks about global regimes of power at CFR meetings on C-SPAN. You've got this whole collection of people. Are you familiar that the Panama Canal has now been handed over to the Chinese military?
I wasn't aware of the Chinese.
Well, you know that back in 1978 and 79, Carter said by 2000 it'll be given up fully and our troops will be pulled out by 1996.
That was an agreement that we had with the Panamanians.
But what you have to realize is that was nothing but jungle, and we built that. The French weren't able to. Do you think it's a good security arrangement to allow the Chinese military to now have 4 ports on the Panama Canal?
I was unaware that they had ports down there. Taking the Panama Canal back could be done in a couple of hours, if need be.
Because it's in our hemisphere of influence.
If it played such a strategic role, and the United States had to take that thing back in half a day, it would be back under our control.
Perhaps today, and perhaps when the time comes, we don't have leadership like President Clinton in the White House with his collection of bloodthirsty Europeans at his side. The point is that America is being contained. It's being encircled. And I think it's a dangerous trend to allow the Chinese military to have 4 of the main ports, both the entrance at the east side and the exit at the west side of the Panama Canal.
Trust them. Trust them.
Trust Clinton?
No, I don't trust Clinton.
Who do you trust?
Very few. Very few people. I trust my wife. That's about it.
You and your wife back together and everything?
Yeah. We're trying to work things out.
I won't put that on TV. Well, Lieutenant Beck, thanks for all the time.
Well,
If Delta Force comes into town and they're ever trying to confiscate firearms, are you going to go up against them?
Delta Force is not going to come here and how are you going to confiscate guns?
What if they're going door to door?
How are you going to do that?
What if FEMA during an emergency Y2K wants you to go, say, to 50 different houses and pick up dangerous people?
As I said before, it will never come to that. If the Clinton says take all the guns for the next 25 years, there will be bickering among the different agencies on which one is going to be in charge of it, who's going to do it. It will never happen. It's physically impossible.
Lieutenant Beck, will you protect and defend the Constitution from enemies foreign and domestic?
I have sworn to that. That's something that we have done in the military. That's something that we do as law enforcement.
But President Clinton gave that oath, and he gave the missile seekers to the Chinese.
Well, that's his problem. You know, not all of us. Clinton may be the president, but he's not our leader. You know, he's not. Fortunately, you know, he's made a lot of mistakes, and he's going to pay for them.
Do you think he's going to be impeached?
No, he's regardless if he's impeached or what, he's not going to be the next president.
Well, his term's up.
Yeah.
But you think he is going to be punished?
Who cares? Who cares?
You're just sick of him.
I don't dislike him and I don't like him. Who cares? It's no, you know, you can censor this. It's no sweat off my balls what he does, you know? If he wants to go and do whatever, more power to him.
Just give the Chinese the Panama Canal, give them our missile secrets?
No, not that. I'm talking about his own private affairs.
We didn't even bring those up.
Huh? As far as the Panama Canal, that has been in the I say a treaty. I don't know if it was a treaty, but we knew for years and years it was going back to the Panamanians. That it was going back to them, and I'm sure perhaps it helps their economy. I don't know. But I know that even though if there's Chinese down there, we still control it.
But what about 20 years from now?
As
They're
long,
industrializing.
it comes down, whatever country has the most money to throw around is the country that's going to rule it.
And that's the point that we're trying to make here. If we had good leadership here,
Leadership won't cut it.
they wouldn't, well, the will to activate the troops to defend that canal. We're allowing the Chinese military to come in. What happens 20 years down the road, which is a blink in real politics, when we've got another person like Clinton, perhaps worse. Look what the American people are accepting now. What will they accept in the future?
I have no idea.
See, I believe traitors have taken this nation over. I believe we've been usurped.
Well, we've probably been on the road to downslide ever since the Constitution was signed. We've probably started the downslide right then and there, or possibly even when the first European settlers came over. I'm sure that the Indians will say, well, we started going to shit right then, and there may be some truth in that. The United States is a very young country.
So if President Clinton, let's say, allowed foreign troops in and declared a UN emergency, we saw his speech at the UN 6 months ago about bringing in UN forces to try to stop drugs as a new crusade.
I don't think that's that's not.
That's a Clinton fantasy?
It's not feasible. Number one, there are enough. If you're going to involve the military in that, we have enough troops. Second of all, you're talking UN. You're talking soldiers from different countries. They don't speak. Not all of them speak English. There's a language barriers. There's equipment barriers.
So they're going to need y'all's help.
Whose help? Ours?
Yes.
Yes. Well, they would not. It is highly unlikely that we're going to have Italian soldiers in Del Rio stopping marijuana shipments. Yes.
What about if they put in the national grid of biometrics, thumb scanners, the retina scanners to get a driver's license, as they've already done, and then they connect it all on a national grid on that basis? Wouldn't that bring the jurisdiction they need, the control?
How are they going to control?
Well, if you heard
you got thumb scanned, didn't you?
Yes.
Oh, they can.
But I refused it the second time. Have you heard about the listening devices being put up by the feds here in Austin?
I heard that from Steve. Was it you or Steve Lane here last week?
It was on the news.
I first heard about it from. It was Steve.
Have you heard anything else about the listening devices?
No, but it's stupid. What purpose? I asked Steve about it. Why? And he said there was something they could triangulate gunshots or something like that. That's what you got neighbors and telephones for.
So you're saying we don't need these federal listening devices that are being put in here in
No.
Austin?
Not for that purpose. I don't know what purpose I don't know what. That's the purpose that he told me. That they could triangulate gunshots or what else? I don't know. The cameras on where is this, Mopac or something? That I understood it was where they could occasionally, they would have a bank of screens, and occasionally they could monitor traffic and see if there was any tie-ups or problems or.
But the new FEMA center, you heard about that?
I don't know. I'm not real familiar with FEMA.
Well, the new FEMA center, we passed the money for it in the last bond election last month.
My only knowledge of FEMA is the federal agency that comes in after like natural disasters, like the floods that come in and assess damage.
Help the children.
Yeah, help the children, help the people. That's my knowledge of them. As far as them, I doubt if they're involved with anything military at all.
You doubt if they're involved in anything military?
I doubt that. I don't know.
Well, Lieutenant Beck, thanks a lot for saying that you'll...
Surely.
Thanks for saying that you'll protect and defend the Constitution.
I will.
Strike Force Commander, Lieutenant Beck.
Now, to our APC.
Okay. Let me tell you something about Quentin, though. He's going to wait 4 years and run again, and his wife's going to run in 2000. Oh, no, that's already came out. That came out on Larry King last night.
Did you hear Monica went to her plastic surgery?
No.
And she said, I want to get my love handles removed.
Oh, yeah, his face.
He said, why? You won't be able to hear.
Get that.
Huh?
You want to say that on tape?
No.
Here, tell us the Monica joke.
No, I gotta
Tell us the Monica joke.
Okay.
All right, here we go. You gonna put this on TV?
I'll put it at the roll-in.
Okay. No, what are you gonna do? Put it on the roll-in?
Now listen, say this is Lieutenant Beck, and I got a Clinton joke.
It's Lieutenant Beck. I got a Clinton joke.
Lieutenant Beck, Commander Travis County SWAT.
All right, I have a sense of humor.
Go.
Anyways, Monica went to her.
No, start over with this is Lieutenant Beck, Travis County.
This is Lieutenant Beck, Travis County Sheriff's Department. We do have a sense of humor. Monica went to her plastic surgeon. She asked the plastic surgeon, remove my love handles. The doctor looked and said, why? You wouldn't be able to hear.
That's good. Got any more important numbers here we should look at?
Oh, hell no.
Any more Delta Force numbers or anything?
No.
Commander?
This is, Saddam Hussein. He's calling me. Calling you. We want your, because nobody else does. Hey, listen. Our van. We're trying to get a van. Ours went tits up.
Who are you going to hit, Commander?
I'm going to hit up the Commissioner's Court. What is this shit? Oh, that's a bid.
No, was that Delta Force?
No, this is...
That's a Delta Force communicator?
No, that's something else. No, this is a...
Delta Force giving you a call lately?
No. All my stuff. No, our van, we used to have, I don't know if you ever saw, we had a black van that we carried our equipment in.
Oh, you've got a brand new Expedition, don't you?
No, it's last year.
Big shiny black one?
Big dirty black one.
You gonna put a big skull on the side?
No, actually I think in March I'm getting transferred.
Where?
Patrol. I'm gonna be on the this reorganization.
You've been punished.
No, it's a reorganization.
Are you gonna get paid the same?
Oh yeah.
Well, are they gonna put maybe a guy in a pink uniform in here?
Yeah, the tutu, pink tutu.
Is that the sheriff's idea?
I don't know. No, I don't think there is gonna be a SWAT lieutenant. There'll be Al will still be here.
Basically, they're gonna find somebody that does want to go to. Basically, they're gonna find somebody that does want to go door to door and take up their guns.
No, it's a complete reorganization. Here it is, right here.
Central Command.
That's east.
Oh, you're gonna be a command over patrol.
Yeah, I'm going. I'll be on midnights. I have 2 sergeants and 13 officers.
2 sergeants and 13 officers.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, General.
Anyways, listen.
Do you want off SWAT?
No. Well, to put it this way. If
You're a nice guy. That's why they're throwing you off SWAT.
yeah, probably so. If my job was purely SWAT, I would love to stay here, but there's more to it. I have narcotics, the intelligence unit.
Oh, the intelligence unit.
It's criminal intelligence. Mostly we deal with parolees and stuff. There's a lot of bullshit that comes with this, and we also have the warrants. If it was purely SWAT, I'd love it, but with the little extras, they can have it.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're gonna give up the black uniform?
For the brown.
All right.
Give up the
So
black.
you'll no longer be a black shirt. You'll be a brown shirt.
A brown shirt. There we go. You get my brown jack boots and.
Thanks a
I
lot.
don't know if I get a sword or not with it.
You even know, ooh, you want a sword.
Actually, yeah, I gotta have a sword.
SS sword?
I don't know. It's either that or a pirate.
Oh, let me
sword.
ask you one more question. I know you've been here. I know you've been here with us for an hour, but last question of about 20. I'm serious. You have to go. I understand. Tell us real fast, Lieutenant Beck, before you head out of town. I know you've been working hard all week. How come y'all are so cowardly that you won't have a shooting contest with me when I'll defeat you up and down the street?
No one backed out. Sheriff Frazier determined that it would probably be in the best interest not to do it. Some people would take it in good light and support it, and I'm sure there were other people who would take it the wrong way and give us all a hard time about it.
We saw some Marines when we first came in. What were they doing here in the building?
The Marines? Were they in uniform?
We didn't have our cameras on.
Oh, they're recruiters.
Oh, they're the Marines are here recruiting officers?
No. Our central records is located on this floor, and up here you'll see the Army recruiters, Air Force, Navy, Marines. They come up, they're doing background checks on recruits to see if they have arrest records.
So y'all are getting some relationships
Hello,
going with the
folks,
military. That's what it sounds
and stay tuned for more classics here on Mike Hanson Archives and our new channel, Waco Archives. And don't forget our oldest channel, Mike Hanson Archives, here on YouTube. Stay tuned for more, but make sure y'all get everybody to subscribe to Hanson Archives and the new one, Waco Archives. We're busy every day uploading more and more videos. We have hired somebody to do that and bought the equipment to do it. It's a lot of work. If you would like to help out with that situation, send us $25 and I will send you my book, and everything that comes in from my book will be used to fund these 3 channels. So stay tuned right here to YouTube and Facebook. I am Mike Hanson from Gonzales, Texas on Facebook. Thanks a lot, and God
I
bless.
might get a free calendar out of one of them every
They just
once in a
come
while.
up and visit, military just come
No, they don't visit. They don't come to SWAT. They go to Central Records. They're checking to see if the applicant has an arrest record.
Just tell us they're coming to take over.
No. These young guys now in the service, nah.
They're just up visiting.
No, they're working. I mean, they're doing the background checks on their little recruits that they're taking in.
Gotcha. Well, thank you very much, General.
All right.
This is Desi Mariah Andrews, and I love Hanson Archives and Waco Archives on YouTube.
And Mike Hanson Archive.
And Mark Hanson Archives. He forgot to tell me that,
Oh,
folks.
and I love Desi Andrews.
What's this here?
Get this, Mike. What's this?
Between me and LeBlanc.
Is that who's gotten the most arrests personally?
No, these guys, they go out and
Let me turn the camera on.
they make 200 or 300 arrests a year.
Hold on. You're saying
Hold on, okay.
we're here talking to Strike Force Commander Lieutenant Beck. No, we're here talking.
Lucky Strike Force. I'll quit smoking.
We're here talking to Lieutenant Beck, Commander Travis County SWAT Team, and right here we have the Team 1, huh? We have Team 2.
And you can see I'm running out of time. I made 3.5 arrests, and he's ahead of me by.
This is for Saturday Night Live.
What, 2 8/9 or something? No, we don't see these guys. They make 100 arrests a month. We don't do that. These are just little.
Oh, let me ask you a question. What do you think of Kirk Watson, the mayor of Austin, giving all the legislators 0 parking tickets? I don't get that. Do you get that?
No,
Why did Kirk Watson do that?
I don't know. Good question. Can you get me one?
I hear that. I need to have immunity from parking tickets. Hold on, let's go.
Stay behind the...
What's he doing?
What?
Letting all the legislatures?
What did I say? I forgot what I said.
What'd you say? That you sure wish you had one too, or?
No.
Yes, sir. What do you think of Mayor Kirk Watson coming out and saying that state legislators in Austin don't get tickets, they're immune from it?
I think they ought to all get a ticket.
They ought to all get tickets?
No favoritism.
But Kirk Watson, what?
They're not better than anybody else.
You're gonna give him a roll.
No better than anybody else. If they do something wrong, they deserve a ticket.
And what'd you say Kirk Watson's doing to him?
Favoritism.
But you had a different word.
Scratching their back.
Well, the other one. Oh, there he goes.
Folks, it's
Well, it's good
Mike
talking to you,
Hanson
sir.
here, and we'll get right back to your classic video here on Hanson Archives, or if you're watching Mike Hanson Archives on YouTube. Just want to remind you, you'll see the address pop up, our phone number. I want to invite you to buy my book here. It's when Alex and I snuck into the Bohemian Grove. The book is called Bohemian Grove, Cult of Conspiracy. If you send $25 to that address, I'll sign it. And what will happen with the money is something good. We're taking all the hundreds and hundreds of VCR tapes, which we used to use in the old days, and transfer them over to computer and putting them up on the internet, which is a very hard job, believe it or not, and very expensive job. So if you get a chance, and Tex Mars just passed away. He's the one that forwarded the book, and he just barely passed away a month or two ago. And there's Alex and I when we were younger. We both looked pretty good there then. It's 25 years later now, but go ahead and if you can, we also, if you want to call that number, we also got a credit card machine. We can charge it if you need to. I know a lot of people don't like to send a money order or a check or anything like that, but we'll get it right back out to you. $25 for the book, and it will go for a good cause. So God bless, and now we're going to get back to your classic video here on YouTube. God bless. Mike Hanson.
Oh, you guys are nuts.
Now you're gonna get
Hold
this
on,
here.
hold on.
Me sitting here scratching.
Yeah, here we are. We're in Death Command Central, going down with the lieutenant.
The slowest elevator in Austin.
Notice it's black to cover up the blood stains from many a...
From us beating on the doors when we get stuck in it about once a week.
Seriously. Where would y'all park your APC? Downstairs?
It wouldn't be used. Maybe.
So you're saying Delta Force rode right up on this elevator?
One guy?
But the front man, as you called him. So the Delta Force front man rode up this elevator.
Yeah, we're putting I think we're gonna put a plaque up here that you give them guys. Don't let the special ops.
You could deal with special ops, couldn't you?
Yeah.
We're gonna need your help when they come into town.
Oh yeah.
You gonna join up with the forces to smash them?
The highest paid, I guess, will take me.
The highest paid, huh?
No.
Look who we got here. Somebody that we haven't seen in about 20 years is
Hello there.
Late
How are
and great
Good to see you.
George Humphrey.
Yes. Oh my goodness! I see who it is. Yes.
Tell us what you've been up to.
Oh my goodness! Isn't this a great day?
Yes.
It is amazing.
Tell us why you're here, hurry, because it's my Facebook.
My heart is heavy for the world, but my heart is also happy for the good people here. We need to get back to work, and we need to realize that this cure, it's not a cure, it's not about a virus, it's about political control. And we are free and sovereign, and we have the choice to either be slaves or to be free. I choose to be free, yes.
Well, guess what I did? I bought about $20,000 worth of editing equipment and hired some people to put all the tapes on for the last 25 years, and you're on there. So I want you to, and I'm gonna plug my YouTube channel.
Okay, great.
Mike Hanson
Of course,
Archives,
of course.
Hanson Archives, and Waco
I
Archives.
didn't recognize you at the start.
Okay, so I need you to say, this is George Humphrey, and I love Mike Hanson Archives.
This is George Humphrey, and this guy is awesome. Mike Hanson, the Mike Hanson Archives. Check it out.
You're on there. We just put about 3 tapes of you on there. And you had slick black hair then.
Now it's all dyed.
All right. God bless y'all. We'll see you in a minute. You're on.
Hey everybody, this is Kevin Smith, and I love Mike Hanson Archives. Check it out.
And Hanson Archives.
And Hanson Archives?
Yeah, I got 3 YouTube channels.
Give them all to me. I'll do it on rapid fire them.
God bless you.
Thanks, Mike.